Today on the channel we are going to take these black ugly pickup rings off of my Kramer Pacer Series guitar. Okay, I think one of the worst things that you can do is just throw away good strings. I'm a miser when it comes to guitar strings. These strings have barely been played, and with a Floyd Rose system, you can easily save your strings by simply undoing them at the bridge on this Floyd Rose instead of restringing the entire guitar. Hopefully there's not going to be any metal fatigue stress up near the tuners, so when I tune this thing back up it won't snap. I mean, sometimes you run into that situation, but I'm going to do my best to save myself $5 or $6 on a set of strings. So what I wind up doing is taking these strings out of this Floyd Rose. One thing about this, these Floyd Rose specials, they're pretty cheap. This one plays pretty good, but you know, it stays in tune decently. But you gotta be really careful because these little blocks that are in here are a little bit cheaper metal, and these posts are kind of cheap, so you can strip those things out easily. So they're not really set up for being on tour, on the road, doing a lot of string changes. Eventually they're gonna wear out. So all right, this came from Music Lily. These were like $12, so I kind of cheaped out on this too. So I don't know if these screws are gonna fit in here properly. These were just some cheap pickup covers I got out of a guitar kit when I put together a Les Paul. I actually bought a Les Paul from Music Lily maybe 3 years ago. I bought a couple of them, a couple of my first guitars that I built, and these are the pickup rings from one of those kits. And this rear pickup ring on here is really tall, and the humbucker doesn't really fit flush in there, so it's angled, so the magnets on this humbucker don't exactly stay level with the strings, which is kind of, you really shouldn't have that. This pickup should lay in there straight, so the magnets have equal distance to the strings. And so I couldn't really move this pickup up very high close to the strings because the way it sat in this black pickup ring. So I'm kind of curious if these Music Lily rings will solve that problem. I had to take a screw or a drill and drill these holes out a little bit more too on this black pickup ring because these screws didn't want to go in. So I'm kind of having trouble getting these screws out of this one. You can see how thick this humbucker ring is. So there wasn't a whole lot of space between this pickup and where these strings go into the saddle. So anyways, these pickup rings are the same height. So hopefully they'll fit this metal. Hopefully they'll fit this metal pickup, this chrome pickup. Okay, it looks like it's going to be all right. and hopefully the holes will line up to the holes that are in the body. That would kind of stink if they didn't. Yeah, you never know with these. You never know with these foreign parts if they're going to line up perfectly. So you kind of have to take a little bit of a gamble with it. But you know, it's not a major risk when you think about it. I mean, it's when you look at the affordability of these parts, you're not out a ton of money. But when I upgrade these guitars, I try not to spend an exorbitant amount of money, because you just never get it out of it. And if you can save a little bit of coin and make it look right, then then that's a bonus. All right, so this is not sliding down on this thing perfect. So what I may have to do, let's see what we got here. Yeah, that looks good already. I hope I can make this work. Maybe if I pinch this chrome cover in just a little bit with some pliers, just maybe pinch it just a tad, because it wants to go on there, but it's just a little bit snug. Let me see if this one fits. Maybe this one was cut out just a little differently. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this one feels the same way. So, shoot. I mean, I suppose I could put it in there the way it is. Yeah, it's gonna work. I had to push it on there pretty hard. Looks like these holes will line up for the screws. They're pretty close. Alright, that's cool. So, really won't be that easy to adjust the pickup height of these pickups because it's such a snug fit. Let me see how these screws fit in here. Let's see. Yeah, these screws fit in okay. Alright, so this is always one of the hardest jobs to do, I think, when you're putting pickups in, is getting these springs to line up and screws to line up with the pickup. I cut the springs. I cheat. I take the spring and I cut about a third of it off, because I never need that entire length of that spring, and that way it looks like this. I can line up the screw inside the pickup ear easily. I'm sure some of you watching this have done this before, and you try to put the spring on the pickup and it slides off, and next thing you know, you got a spring flying across the room. And then if you don't have any extra springs, then you're kind of stuck. I like working on Fenders on the Strats and stuff where they have the little rubber tips that you put on the screws when you're working on single coils. That's super nice, makes it super easy. So let's see, we'll get this screw in there. One thing I always worry about also is moving my screwdriver a little bit too much off to the side, and then I don't want to scratch the paint. I've done that a few times before also, where you think you got it on the screw and then you move your screwdriver just a little bit too much to the side, and before you know it, you got a nice healthy ding in the guitar finish. And you're like, well, it's relic now. That's natural relic. So as I'm talking about this, it's probably going to happen. Hopefully not. These screws don't really want to line up exactly with those holes in the body, but I'm going to make it work. Going to make it work one way or the other. I really like how these chrome pickup rings are looking already. Looks super good. Looks nice. Now see, this is going to be the problem here. That pickup hole, that ring hole, is not wanting to line up quite as good. I don't know if the hole is on this side or that side. I think it's over here a little bit. I'm gonna move it around just a tad and see if I can find it. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's way up there. It's way up towards the corner. I may have to drill out another hole for these pickup rings. I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to take a drill bit and do just do a different hole right there, which that's fine with me because it's always gonna be covered by a pickup ring one way or the other. You know, if this was a custom shop fender or something of that nature, I wouldn't worry about it, but I'm not going to be that particular. After I get these screws in and mount this one in, I'll follow up shortly after this. My last thing I'll do is take a small drill bit and just drill me a different hole there. Yeah, so that looks nice. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm probably gonna have the same problem with this pickup. These holes probably aren't going to be drilled out exactly for the pickup ring. You know, why would that be? You know, I mean, pickup rings, you would think, if there's one standardized part on a guitar, you'd think pickup rings would be. I've probably assembled and built in the neighborhood of 30 guitars over the last 4 years, and it's amazing the stuff you learn when you do this by trial and error. You learn, first of all, you learn that, you know, volume knobs are, a lot of them are different from manufacturer to manufacturer. You also learn that certain bodies on certain guitars are routed out weird. You think that certain volume pots will fit in certain bodies and they won't. Tremolo routings, the way the screw holes line up. I mean, there's so many frustrating things that you try to think about ahead of time when you're making a guitar, and different things that you try to pre-plan ahead for, and then you're in the middle of the night working on your project after work and you think you're going to be able to get something done. Next thing you know, you don't have the right screws for something, or a pickup spring for this, you know, mounting something like this, or there's always something. It's always something. You just learn how to cope with the frustration. All right, let's see if these pickup holes line up. Yeah, now you see these don't line up perfectly, but they think they line up close enough. So that might have been just the way that they screwed these holes out at, you know, when they made these Kramers, perhaps. I don't know. So yeah, see, now I can't see this. I thought I had it lined up right. No, you know what? I'm gonna have to drill that hole out, because this one and this one will work, but the diagonal one over here isn't going to line up. So it's probably a flaw in the manufacture of these chrome pickup covers. That would be my guess, but you know, it's hard to say. I think I'm going to drill this. I'm going to drill a hole for that one too. I sure am. Because when I screw this one in like this, it moves this pickup cover slightly to the side, and those holes are no longer really visible right there. So I got to drill out that hole, and I have to drill out these two to put these in there. So once I do that, how that'll work, I'll restring it. So let me drill out those holes real quick. That's a easy 30-second job. Okay, a brief moment later, I found my smallest drill bit, which I think will work. And then, just like that, just like magic, the holes are drilled, and we're going to put this thing back in place. I could have drilled it a little deeper, but these screws are very small, so they're kind of easy to get in to place. That hole for this one was almost there. So one thing you learn when you start making these guitars or doing work on guitars like that, there are certain tools that you have to have. I mean, you have to have a drill with a decent amount of drill bits. You gotta have Allen wrenches, a bunch of screwdrivers, a nice soldering iron, you name it. Okay, so that looks pretty darn good. Cool. I'm going to restring this thing real quick. I'm going to pop these strings back in their saddles, and then we'll take a look at the final product. All right, the strings are back on. Everything's tuned back up, and they look great. What do you think? I think they look pretty nice. I got them set up at a pretty decent height from the strings. I'll check it out and make sure I like how it sounds. I may have to adjust the pole pieces a little bit to my liking, but so far, these pickups sound really good from the factory. Again, these are Guitar Madness 59ers. They're like $40 for a pair. You can get them on eBay from Guitar Madness. If you just search Guitar Madness, they've got a bunch of different pickups. They sell 1984 Van Halen pickups on there that are pretty nice. These were $50. I paid $11.99, I think, for the chrome rings. So for a $55, $60 upgrade, I think that was a lot better than those white pickups that were in it. So really happy with that. All right, so just tell me what you think. If you like this video, comment. Please consider subscribing, and as always, have a great day. Peace out.